Welcome to everybody. This is like your first child. It's all an experiment at the beginning. This is the first time for us doing something like this, and I know that, it'll go wonderfully, and that hopefully everybody will learn some new stuff, or my goal would be that you find out how to do things quicker and faster and easier with Windows 10. So let's get this show on the road, so to speak. And so, as you know, you're muted, and we've stopped your video. That's just so there's no confusion or anything. And the reason that we are asking you to put your first and last name into the chat box, because if you would like a copy of Bill's notes, I cannot send it to you unless your first and last name is in there. We don't need any more information than that. And please also ask your questions via the chat box. John has a suggestion. He says, don't put your question into the chat box right away. Take some time to write it down because it might be answered later in the presentation. We're going to take a little break after notifications, and John and I will do a tag team and we'll ask some of those questions. And after the workshop is ended, we're going to keep the chat box open for maybe 10 minutes or so in case you have some last-minute questions. And we are recording this. So again, those people who have their first and last names in the chat box will receive an email from me tonight with the address of the YouTube video. Or you can subscribe at APCUG's YouTube channel, youtube.com/APCUG videos. And we hope to see you next month. You will receive a reminder prior to the June 10 workshop, and it's all about those settings that we have. And I personally still have a link to Control Panel. I'm holding on to Control Panel as long as I can, but we're going to explore the settings. If you have questions or comments after the workshop, please send them to me at jtalor@apcug.org, and let's all have a good time and learn some things.
There are a few people who have their cameras on. If you go down to the bottom left corner, please turn off your cameras because that could do a little interference. So if you have a camera that's not turned off, please turn it off. And I'll mute Judy and me, and Bill, you.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for attending this first workshop. It's exciting to see so many people here. What we're going to talk about is what's new at Windows 10, the 2004 version, which will be coming out very shortly. We're going to then move into have you customize your start menu, taskbar, and notifications. We'll take a short break, and then we'll move on to what are those hidden icons? How can I immediately get back to my desktop? Can you easily see your mouse pointer? How about the display text size? And then we'll also look at the powerful search options that are in Windows 10. So to begin with, we're going to show what the latest information that we have on the new version of Windows 10 that will probably come out May 28th is the date that I have been told. So we'll show that. I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
We can see it.
Looks great.
All right.
Yep.
I'm going to mute all again. Please don't turn on your mics. That's for me.
10 version 2004. And a lot of people look at that and they say, are we talking about 2004? Or are we talking about something else? Well, the naming convention that Microsoft has adopted is that the first two numerics represents the year, and the second two represents the release month. So in this case, it's April 2020 was the scheduled release date. So the final build was done April 30th. And as I said earlier, the expected release date is May 28th. This bill is not as large as the Windows 10 1909, which came out in November of 2019, but it does have a bunch of really useful improvements that I think you will be interested in. So now you're going to be able to have more control over the optional updates. As you see by the arrow here, you notice that there is a hyperlink that says view optional updates. And here you will find the updates that you can now select what you want to update. And you do that by finding, going to Settings, Update and Security, Windows Update, and then clicking on the hyperlink that says View Optional Updates. And then you can choose which updates you might want to install. You also have options as to when you want to download 2404, and you have up to 35 days. You now are allowed to pause updates from being installed on your device for up to 35 days. When you reach the pause limit, your device will need to get new updates before you can pause again. So keep that in mind, that any updates that possibly came about while you were in the pause mode, those will have to be downloaded first before you can download anything else. You also can show your pending installs, and you can schedule a time for those to be actually installed at your convenience. So you can schedule a time and a day to have those installed, have those installs to download. You also can change your active hours. Set active hours to let you know when you typically use this device, and Microsoft will not automatically restart your device during that time. So you need to turn that switch on, and we'll talk about that later in our later in the presentation. So right now, in this instance, the current active hours are between 8 and 5 p.m. And as they say here, the more you use the device, the better they will be able to suggest active hours. You also can view your update history. If you find one or more updates that didn't install properly, you can attempt to reinstall them again. And it will show you the updates that you have installed. The thing that you have to remember is that the history is in sections. There's featured updates. A feature update is an update such as Windows 10 version 2004. A quality update is a cumulative update, which would involve your updates to Windows Defender or any other security update that Microsoft may release for a certain application. You also will have driver updates, and then you have optional updates. So When you see this screen, you need to go scroll all the way down. As you see, there's a caret, which actually you can compact this, in other words, hide all these details, and you'll see the 4 different areas that Windows is updating. Under the advanced options, you can also update other Microsoft products along with Windows, such if you have a copy of Microsoft Office. Those updates can also be done at the same time. You also can change the time or how much you want to download if you have a metered connection. In other words, if you only have so much data that you can expend, you can change that or turn that off so you won't get those updates taking up all your extra bandwidth. You can restart your device as soon as possible, and Windows will then give you a notification that it's going to restart, and you won't be interrupted. But if you have that turned off, Windows will keep the restart pending. And then, of course, you can get update notifications when your PC requires a restart to finish updating. Cortana has been changed in this version. It's being advertised as a new Cortana experience with a brand new chat-based interface. It'll show the history of conversations that will appear in a chat type window. You'll be able to resize and move it around on your desktop, just like other Windows apps. The support for smart home skills that are similar to the ones that you find with Alexa and Google Home, those are no longer a part of Cortana. Cortana will be a personal productivity assistance to Microsoft 365. But you still will be able to send emails. You'll be able to review your calendar items. You'll be able to find files, search the web, set alarms, open apps, and still be able to tell a joke. The Windows search experience has been improved. Back in 2019, there was a fix where the start menu search was changed so it would take advantage of the old Windows search indexer. And the problem is that the new one that was prior to that was taking up so much resources that in some cases, it slowed people's computers down. So Microsoft in 2019 fixed that problem. So they've kind of enhanced it with this change. It runs in the background and scans PC files to create a database. It won't run when you are playing a game, when the power saving mode is on. If your CPU usage is above 80%, or your disk usage is above 70%, or if you have a low battery. Quick searches in the search home. You can click the search box that is adjacent to the start button, and you'll be able to access things such as the weather, top news, and new movies, among other things. And we'll demonstrate that when we talk about our searches, because some of the functionality in the present version of Windows still is there, but the new buttons that you see where it says weather, top news, and today's history, that's a new addition. Also, you can now look at the disk type in your task manager, so it will show whether or not you have a solid state device or a hard disk drive. Both of those will be identified independently. Also, task manager has been, there's been a performance tab for more details has been added. Your GPU or graphics processor unit will now show the temperature. So it's primarily used to manage and boost the performance of your video and graphics so that you know what the temperature of that card happens to be. So it only works on dedicated graphic cards, but if you have an integrated graphics card in your motherboard, this will not show. It only shows for the ones that are separate or discrete. Such as the example, you see the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050, that's a dedicated card, where the one above may or may not be. You can now make your device passwordless. So you can now, in the settings, accounts, and sign-in options, you have the Windows Hello Face. If you have face recognition, that requires a webcam. And if the unit is designed to with face recognition, you can use that to sign on to your computer. If you have a fingerprint printer, a reader, you can use that. You just have several different options to sign in on your computer now. One of the good things they've had added is that in safe mode now also works with your PIN logon. If you have a PIN, you can use that to log on into safe mode. You can rename the virtual desktops. Currently, they are identified as desktop 1, 2, and 3. You can rename them to whatever they happen to be, Windows 98, Windows 7, whatever you're using. Just a matter of right-clicking on those, and you can go in and change the name. So that covers what's new in Windows 10 2004, which is expected to hit your computer probably by the end of this month. So now what I will do is go into our presentation as to how you can make Windows work for you and how to personalize it. Okay, this is my desktop, and I'm a very minimalist, so you'll notice that I have no icons on my screen at all because I really like to enjoy the beautiful wallpaper that I'm getting through Bing. And I'll explain how this works as we go along. But what we'll begin, we're going to talk about how to customize our start menu. Our start menu really looks much like some of the early versions of Windows, except that it has some features that are unique to it. One of the things that you can do is that you can resize it to just about any size that you want. And how you best want to use it. You can make it small or large just by going to the edge and dragging the grab handles, and that will then stretch or however you want to, what size best suits your usage. Usually I keep it about like this for my own usage. So it's divided in several different columns. This column here actually has to do with the the different sections, you can see that it has the start, which actually pertains to this portion, my account. When I click on that, it shows information about me. I can go to documents, pictures, and then of course settings and power. The middle section is referred to as your apps, where all the applications that you have stored on your computer are all listed here. And then next to that are the tiles. Now the tile section is, you can divide it up to create, explore, etc. And in my mind, I've always viewed this to replace the shortcuts that we have placed on our desktop. So rather than have the shortcuts on my desktop, I choose to use them here. In my opinion, it's a redundancy when you actually have them here and then also have them on your desktop. Of course, you ask the question, well, how do I get to my desktop if I need to do that? And quite simply, if you go to your file manager, you'll see that you have your desktop right here. So here's all the icons that are currently on my desktop that I can get to if I choose to do so. But to me, it's still sort of a redundancy. Also, you'll notice that you have recently added programs will show the ones that are most used, which are really able to quickly be able to access those. So that functionality really works well, at least for me, but you'll notice that being populated. You can also turn this feature off, and we'll talk about that as well. And occasionally you also see another entry that says suggested apps, and that is where Microsoft will suggest, well, you might be interested in this particular application, so it will show here. And you can change that behavior as well when we go into the start menu settings. So what you can do, you can disable the content suggestions that Microsoft may show at the start menu from time to time. And they're mostly related to Windows Store apps when Microsoft thinks you will be interested in those particular ones. So to customize our start menu, we want to go to settings. And under settings, we'll go to personalization. And then we'll click on Start. Now here is where you can then customize how you want your start menu to look. You can show more tiles by turning that toggle on or off. You can show the apps list, which is that middle section that I told you about. If I turn that off, this apps list will go away. So if you find yourself not having an apps list, you might want to go and see if that has been turned off. As you see here, my app list is no longer there. If I go and turn that back on, now I have my apps list. If I want to not show my recently added, which is this area right here, this was the most recent download that I installed on my computer, I can turn that off as well, and then that will no longer show. My most used apps, if I have no interest in knowing, for me, this is kind of a quick start. I can always go here and click on whatever application I want to bring up without having to go through the complete apps list to do that, because they're already listed here. It's kind of a quick access, similar to what you would find in your web file explorer. So I can turn that off as well. And we talked about the suggestion. I don't have any suggested applications on this go around, but you might find that will show occasionally, and that you can also turn off or on. One other thing is that if you remember how Windows 8 looked, you can still get that appearance by using the start full screen. So I turn that off. Now look at this. So now it looks very much like Windows 8. And this works really well if you have a touchscreen computer. So then all you have to do is just touch the tiles that you want to use. But if you have just a regular, don't have a touchscreen, then you can leave that turned off, and then it will revert back to the way the start menu normally appears. Now the bottom here is show recently opened items in jump list on start or the taskbar in File Explorer for quick access. Now the jump list is just a matter of right clicking and you get all the current documents that you used within a certain period of time. And that's if you have icons on your programs pinned to your taskbar, then that's a real quick way to get to documents that you use without having to go searching for them, particularly if you're using something on a regular basis. So let's look at the tiles on our start menu. You have several contacts menu for each tile. If you right click on it, you'll notice that you can unpin it from the start. You can resize it. There's a more option where you can turn, if it's a live tile, you can turn it off. You can unpin it from the taskbar if it's pinned, like in this case, that's a mail app and it is pinned to my taskbar. You can get to the app settings. You can rate and review, and you can also share. Those are dependent on the particular app that you have on your start menu. Those change. Say, for instance, if I go here and look at Microsoft Word, I'm going to right click. And again, I have unpinned from start. I have resized. I have more where I can turn, if it's not a live tile, but if it was, I could turn that on or off. Unpin it from the task, run as administrator, have the settings for that particular app, and then I can also share. But notice too that when I right clicked on that, it also gave me a jump list where I can go to those particular documents without even having to open the app. I just need to just right click here on that particular app and that jump list shows up. You also are able to move the tiles if you want to organize this. Like I have, this is my productivity group. So I have all my productivity applications there. So say, for instance, if I want to move CCleaner, say for instance, up to that particular area, I can just drag it up and then just place it, and the tiles will automatically spread, so I can then change it. And I can also just move it back if I like, or anywhere in between. So we'll leave it there for now. Now, each one of these categories, as you notice that says create. If I want to change the name of that, I just click, and then I get a box where I can then customize the title of this particular group. And then once I've got it done, I'll just click away from it, and then it changes back. So you can have as many groups as you want, and it's a way of organizing your start menu that best serves your needs. And by doing so, in my opinion, you can also then enjoy the wonderful wallpaper that you have without having a bunch of icons scattered all over the place. Now, you can also, there's not a problem with pinning documents. Actually, you don't really need them, because if you have Microsoft Word and you have documents there that you've recently used, you can easily get to them by, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to click that. You can get those, you can get to those documents by just using the jump list. And so there they all are. So you can just launch them from here. And you can also pin the ones that you want to stay there permanently. If it's something that you use all the time, like this tips and tricks, if I want that to remain on this list, I just pin it, and then it will then remain in the pinned area up here. So the documents that are listed here, this is a dynamic list, so it will change over time. But if you have one that you don't ever want to drop off the list, you can just pin it into the pinned area. Now, I've seen occasions where people absolutely do not like it, and they decide, well, I think I'm just going to just delete all my tiles and only have this area here to look more like Windows, previous versions of Windows. In my opinion, that's not recommended. I would not do that. First of all, it's tedious. You have to go and right-click on each one of them to unpin it from the start. So if you spend maybe an hour or so doing that, and I really don't think it's really worth it. One of the things that are really that you can do to really navigate quickly using the start menu is that you can click on a letter and you get this grid. And this is alphabetical order. Say, for instance, if I want to go to Windows Accessories, I would click, I'm sorry, if I want to go to Microsoft Accessories, I would click the M. I was right the first place, pardon me. If I wanted to go to Windows Accessories, I'd click on the W, and then there's my Windows Accessories. Or if I wanted to do anything else, I can just go to, say for instance, I want to go to Zoom, I just click the Z, and then there's my Zoom application. To get back to the grid, you can just click on the letter again. It becomes an alphabetical grid again. To get back to the applications list, just click something that looks like a clock, and then it brings back your list. But remember that your start menu is all centered around the settings where you can go in and make changes to it. Don't forget to look on the right side where you see other hyperlinks. Like if I want to change my start menu color, I can click here and it will bring up a help and tell me you can use Windows personalization settings to do that. And then here I can click open color settings, and that will actually take me to the color settings here on my settings menu. Now the settings menu, our app works very much like any other browser-based navigation. I can just, if I want to go back to the previous window, I just use the back arrow and that takes me back one screen. So I can use these to do all kinds of things, including fix problems with the start menu. I can get help, and I can also give feedback. If you have a particular beef that you want to discuss, you can post it here, and you might be surprised that you'll get a response. If I want to look at what folders are going to appear on Start, I click here, and this will give me a list of what will appear in this listing right here. So I have my File Explorer that I don't have, that I have turned off, but if I turn it on, it will then appear here. And that's a quick way I can get to the File Explorer that I have on my taskbar. I can do the settings, I can do documents, I can do downloads, music, pictures, videos, networks, and they would all be in this list here. So you can customize your start menu to work to your advantage. Pardon me. Okay, so that is my discussion on the start menu, and now we'll move on to our taskbar. And as you can see here, I have quite a few items that are actually pinned to my taskbar, and they're for quick access, and it sort of supplements me not having to go to the start menu, because these are items that I can use, that I use on a regular basis. And the Windows 10 taskbar really is no different from the taskbars that have been previous editions of Windows. I can get to my taskbar settings quite easily by just right-clicking and then click on taskbar settings. And then that will bring me up all the settings that I can customize my taskbar with. I can lock the taskbar, and you probably want to know, why would I want to lock my taskbar? But one of the things that you will find is that if you are not careful with your mouse, you'll find you move this taskbar all over the place. So if that's turned off, then you'll find yourself moving it to the side, on the top, or doing all kinds of things which may not be something that you want. So the idea is to go in and lock that, and then once that's done, you can no longer move that taskbar. You also notice that on my taskbar, and I hope you can see this, is that my taskbar disappears when I move my mouse away from it. I can turn that on or off. If I have it off, then the taskbar remains in place all the time, and it will not disappear. But turning it on, in my opinion, allows you to have more real estate. So I like to hide mine. The second one, of course, Windows 10 is designed that it works both on desktops, on laptops, on tablets. And so if you're in tablet mode, you have a different set of requirements. You may not want the taskbar showing all the time because it takes up valuable real estate. So you have the choice of turning it off or on as well. Also, you can change the size of the icons. You can, if you want to use smaller taskbar buttons, you can do so by turning that on, and you get really tiny ones. The peek to preview the desktop is still there, and what that actually does is that when you move your mouse pointer over to the very far right of the taskbar, you'll find, and click, you'll find that the screen will then disappear, like so. So that functionality is controlled by use peek to preview the desktop when you move your mouse to show desktop button at the end of the taskbar. And you can barely see it. There's just a little sliver of a line. And when you move over, you'll find that whatever screens that you have up will disappear, applications you have up will disappear briefly. The one here that says show badges on the task buttons, that refers to these little numbers. If you see right here on my mail, it shows 12. That means I have 12 new emails that have come in. So if I turn that off, you'll notice that little number 12 will go away. But that's what badges are. Anything that updates, it will then show a number of our activity that has taken place. It will then show with that turned on. Of course, you can also choose where you want your taskbar location on the screen. Of course, typically it's on the bottom, but you can put it on the left, the top, or right. And just by selecting the option, as you can see now, it's on the left. The next one is combine taskbar buttons. And what happens is that when you have lots of icons at the bottom, you can go in and change that so that it will then combine those particular icons into one ribbon. So that's really not anything that I use. This is the default, always hide labels. So I just leave it that way. And the others are just information which gives you more options that you can look at as to how to customize your taskbar. You can, in the notification area, you can select which icons appear on the taskbar. So if I click on this, you see where I have my volume, my network, my Windows Explorer. And what that refers to are these right here. I have my keyboard, I have the safely remove my USB, my Wi-Fi, my speaker. And as you can see, that those are all turned on. It says volume, network, Windows Explorer, Microsoft OneDrive, Dropbox, and Windows Update status. Now the ones that are not, this is rather full, so you have to use the up arrow to see the rest of them. But now if you want to show all of those icons, you turn this on, and then they will all appear all the way across. But if you want to be able to, if you don't want that behavior, turn this off, and then you'll get this little caret, which will then show the rest of them, the ones that are hidden. Again, I'll go back to the previous screen. And I can turn the system, this is the same thing, turning the system icons on or off. You see where the clock, the volume control, you can permanently turn these off if you don't want them. So it's just as simple of clicking on the button, and now you notice the clock is no longer there. So if you happen to find one of these icons missing for whatever reason, you may want to go to settings, and then looking at the taskbar. And you can get there by just right-clicking on the taskbar and do taskbar settings, and it will come up. Likewise, you can always go here to the start button and hit the settings, and it will come up. And then you'll want to go to personalization, and you want to click on taskbar. You'll get there the same way. So last is notifications, and that's this area right here, which says, it looks like a caption that would go over someone that was speaking. And then you'll see, in this case, I have no notifications at this moment, but I can manage my notifications by clicking here, and then it'll come to settings, and then I can go in and come here, and it says get notifications from senders. Now, if you notice that a lot of these are turned on, most applications, when you install them, will automatically turn these on for whatever reason, but you can always go back and turn them off. And you notice right now they're grayed out. So what you need to do when you see that is right here where it says get notifications from apps and other senders. You want to turn that on, and then these will all light up. So you can then go in and turn those off as you to meet your particular needs. However you, whenever, for example, if I want to turn this first one off, print notifications, if I turn that off, then it's off. When I go here and turn that off, it will then remain off. I'm not sure why that works that way, but that's how you can't do anything with those until you actually turn this switch on, and then you can go in and make the changes that you need. And what that will stop are some of those endless pop-ups that you see that show up in this area that you've received mail, or you have whatever activity has occurred on your computer. You can manage that behavior by going in and turning these off that you feel you do not need. But remember, you have to turn this switch on first before you can edit this here. I can click on that, see nothing happens. I have to turn that on first. When you see this focus assist settings, this will controls the time that you do or do not want notifications. Say, for instance, if you're in a presentation, you can click here and you can then select how you want those pop-ups to appear. You can do priority only, alarms only, or completely turn it off. You also can set the times that you wish not to have those occur, as well as when I'm duplicating my display, alarms only, when I'm playing a game, or when I'm in an app using full screen mode. So you can go in and set those however meets your needs. Okay, we've reached the point where we said we were going to take a break. We said we would stop at notifications and actions, and then when we come back, we will continue talking about the rest of our agenda, which was talking how to customize the mouse pointer and how to display the different text, and then of course looking at the search options. So now we can then go in and entertain some questions.
I have a couple of questions, Bill.
Pardon?
I have a couple of questions.
All right.
John asks, does the Cortana change only impact people with Microsoft 365? Like if they have 2019 or they're still even doing 2016?
Well, Cortana is right now, Cortana is this round circle, and it does all kinds of stuff, including if it's able now to control lights and different things that are part of the current environment. But once Cortana with 2004, it's going to become a separate app, and you'll be able to move it. It's going to take all that home automation stuff out of it, and it'll just become a productivity app that will interface with your, if you have Microsoft 365, it'll interface with that, but it'll still do all those other things that it has done in the past, with the exception of the home automation piece, if that answers your question.
So it's totally out of the home automation, and kind of one of those things that Microsoft is late to the party, and
Yes.
Siri and our Hey person who's sitting over here to the left of me are going to be the main ones then. Another question is from Barbara, and I haven't got the context on this, but she says, what does share and do, and how do you do it?
Well, it depends on what you want it to share. Say, for instance, let's do a Microsoft Word. And I want to share this particular document. So if you notice right here, there's this share button, and you'll find these in a lot of applications on your phone or anything else. And it will say, share this document and see who it's shared with. So if I click share, it's going to give me some choices of how I want to share it. I wasn't expecting it to take this long.
Okay, well, why don't you click on the X, because I think we have the concept of how you share it.
Yeah, but it
So
will
you
give
can,
you.
you can share that with me.
Yeah, you can share it with, well, you can also share it with other applications like Facebook. You could share it with your mail. You could share it with an individual. And in some cases, you can share it with a device, such as a printer. It all depends on the application. I'm not sure why that's taking so long, but you will see that word share, and it's always designated by the same type of icon. It's usually a little square box with an arrow that goes to the right. And you'll find it on your phones, you'll find it any number of places.
Okay, Hans has a question, and I kind of feel sorry for him here. He says, how can I reinstate the functions I lost several months ago? Windows Start button and the Windows Search function.
That's a good question. If you lost those functions, a lot of times it has to do with the settings itself. Well, let's go here. The search box.
Barbara, it's 1909.
It's 1909?
No, that was just a Barbara.
Oh, okay.
Is this what I would call a Google question?
It would be a Google question, but also you have to also know how to ask the question. I mean, it's not, you're saying you actually lost, pardon me, you actually lost that. I'm thinking that what you have now, rather than have this search box, you probably just have the magnifying glass for the, rather than having the full box. And
no,
right
the box is there.
The box is there?
Yes. But it's just dead, as is the start button. It's there, but it's dead.
Okay. Let me just take that. Let me just take that as a to-do, and I'll see if I can help you. I don't think we have time to troubleshoot that because I think it has more to do with a problem with Windows.
Sally Ann says, how about right-clicking on the taskbar? Does that do anything for you?
You right-click on the taskbar, you get search, but see, it just shows the search box.
Okay.
That's what I thought was happening, is that if you take that and uncheck this box, then that search box will go away.
Okay, Hans, we'll get back to you on this, all right? Because you know I have your email address in the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And for those of you who have come in late, I still have people registering as we speak at 10 o'clock my time in Southern California. Please put your first and last names in the chat box if you would like to receive a copy of Bill's notes and the link to the video after I upload this workshop stuff to YouTube. It'll be up by this evening. And I'm muting myself. So let's keep on going, Bill.
All right. So our next topic on our agenda was doing some of the display settings. And a lot of us are not gifted with great eyesight. And so in order to, it's nice that we can customize windows to meet our particular needs. And of course, Microsoft has always been on the forefront of accessibility. So being able to address those concerns is that in settings, we'll want to go to ease of access. And when we click on ease of access, we get a variety of options that we can do to change the cursor size or the display size of text and so forth. And it makes it really simple. In other words, right here we'll see to make text bigger, we have sample text. And all we need to do really is slide the slider over, and you'll see that it will then show the text in different sizes. And so once you find the one that suits you then just click on apply. And so at that point, it then becomes larger. So you see now I have all my text is larger. And the interesting thing about that, it doesn't necessarily mess up the aspect ratio of my screen. It just makes the text larger. So that's one setting we can do. And then, of course, if you want to get it back, you just go here and do the same thing, apply, and it will then revert back to where it was. Now, if you want to make everything bigger, is that you can then go to this setting. Right now, it will give a it'll get a recommending. So I can then take this and select 125 and see what happens. And you can still use that in the same context with this. So there's a variety of ways you can simply make these changes, which are, I think, in my opinion, a lot easier than the way it was before, because everything is in one place. And you can go from 100% to 175%. There's also the option here that says change the size of apps and text and on other displays. Well, that has to do if you have multiple monitors, and you can go in there and change that. So if you want to change the size and color of your cursor and mouse pointer, you can click here, and then you're going to get this box. So if you like to have a nice fat pointer size, you can go here, and notice that it changes as I move. I can also change the color. Now, if you notice in the next version of Windows, it's going to have colors where you can, the color is no longer going to be this wheel like it is here. It's just going to set out. But I can go in and change all of that quite easily. And if you want the cursor, a lot of times when we're typing, we'll have a really thin cursor, such as in Word. You notice it's just that little line that you see right there. If I want to make that larger, I can go here and change it. And now it becomes bigger. So as you see, it's a function of Windows, not necessarily the function of the application. So if you're looking for changing the cursor thickness in a particular app, you probably will not find that option. You'll have to go into Windows to do it, and then that will be a global change. If you have a touch screen, then these settings would apply to you. Show visual feedback around the touch points when I touch the screen. This is a touch screen, so mine's turned on. If I want to make the cursor blink faster, then I'm going to have to go here to additional mouse options. And here I get the old-fashioned control panel type dialog box. So in this case, I have to go to pointer options, and then I can change the pointer speed. I can also change the how fast the pointer will blink. Let's see. So, plus a lot of other options as well. So everything hasn't quite moved to settings. We still have some of the old dialog boxes that are remnants of the old operating systems, but over time, you'll see more and more of these functions moving to settings. And at some point, the control panel is going to go away. for those of you that are still went to the control panel, it's still there. You can just type in control panel, and the old control panel will then appear, and you can still use it in small icons or in large icons or category. So it's still there. So under our accessibility, we'll find keyboard settings, where you can do a number of things for the keyboard. Turn on your on-screen keyboard if your computer has that functionality. You can press one key at a time for keyboard shortcuts using sticky keys. You can toggle keys, play a sound whenever you press caps lock, num lock, or scroll, and you have the option to turn that on or off. You have you can also ignore brief or repeated keystrokes to change keyboard repeat rates. That's similar to what you used to find under keyboard properties in the old control panel, as well as change how keyboard shortcuts work. Print screen shortcut, use the print screen button to open the screen snipping. So if I turn that on, then when I hit the print screen, I'm going to get what is now called sketch and stitch. And see, I can do that still now. So if you want to use that, you have to turn that on here. Okay, so that's about the accessibility, how you can change your pointer and how to make your display larger. Those are all under the accessibility tile. Ease of access. So the last portion of our discussion today is going to be on the search functions of Windows. I frequently hear people say, well, I saved a document and I don't know where to find it. I don't know how to get back to it. And that can be really disconcerting, because you can spend hours trying to figure out how and where that particular document happens to be. So what I want to talk about is the powerful search features that are in Windows 10. So say, for instance, I have a document that I typed some time ago, and I know just part of what was in it. I think it was a letter that I was writing to an aunt. So if I just type AUNT, I'm going to get some suggestions. And as you can see in this case, I'm getting a web, a match on a fictional character. I'm also showing there is a document in Word that was called @match. And then there's some web searches too that happens to match the word aunt. And then it shows some more documents. Well, since I know it was a Word document, I know that this is my possible match. So I can just click that, and then that document will then appear. So let's take it one, let's see if we can focus on one other thing. Say, let's just use, the only thing I could remember was family reunion. And let's see what we get when I put that in the search box. So this is what I'm going to get here. It's going to show there's a family reunion doc. But you notice that that did not bring up the document that contained family reunion. What I was expecting that perhaps it would have shown every document that had family reunion in it. But let's not dismay. Let's go over here to our file manager. And it also has a search box. And right now it's set to search the desktop, but that's not what I wanted to do. Well, I wanted to just search documents. So now I have documents, and I'm going to put family reunion there, and let's see what I get. So guess what? There's @Madge. So what I'm saying is that when you're doing your searches in Windows, you can use this search box here to search for a document. And if you do not find it using this method, you can also go to File Manager and then choose this search box. The key being is that when you first bring this up, you have to remember what is highlighted on this side. So right now it's set to search quick access. But if I want to search documents, I click here, and then that changes. If I want to search pictures, that changes. And I can also search other areas, like if I'm a big user of OneDrive, so I can go here and also search documents in OneDrive using the search feature that's in Windows, File Manager. So likewise, the other search areas that you can use are, you have a search in Windows using the search box here. You have a search in File Manager, but you also have a search in Settings. So say, for instance, if you are lost to what you need to find, you can search Settings. Say I wanted change display. I can do it that way and then click, and there's my my settings that I can use. Or if I want to change, if I want to do wireless network, Wi-Fi settings rather, I can go there. So there's any numerable way you can search your PC and be able to find the information you're looking for. Now, within this, when you click here, you also see that you have applications that you can search just apps, you can just search documents, you can just search the web, or you can click the down arrow for more and search email, folders, music, people, photos, settings, and videos, just from this box here. Likewise, is that you have weather, top news, and the day's history. Now, one other thing they've added, which will probably get more use, is that you see this little button here, search with a screenshot. So say, for instance, I'm going to bring up a website. And National Geographic, let's use that. No, let's go back. All right, so I have this up here, and let's just see what that is. I'm going to go here. I'm sorry, go here. Miss my deal. And I'm going to click this button. And now my screen has turned gray, and I'm going to just do here. And it's going to search images on the web. And now, I didn't mean to find something that was so gross, but anyway, you can see what happened. It showed all these different matches, and that's the new visual search that that's in Windows that you can use. And I can use it for anything. Say, for instance, if I want to do a visual search of this picture that's on my screen, I can go here, click here, and then just take a piece of that and it's going to give me some possibilities of where that might be. And here's a different little thumbnails I can just click on and maybe find out exactly where that place is, which I really would like to know because I haven't figured out what it is yet. But I think you get my point. You probably will have some better examples that you could use for that. But that's a feature that you probably didn't know about, is that little indescribable button there that there wasn't much explanation about. But Windows has a lot of really powerful means of being able to find information through its search capabilities. Likewise, and we'll get into this is we'll get on some others. There are some other search things that you can also do, which are built into Microsoft Edge. And when we talk about Microsoft Edge, we'll talk about how to search using the browser. But just using the Windows platform, those are the three areas that you can use to search for different information. So I think that just about covers everything that we had put on our agenda. It's now 12:30 my time, so that gives us some time to ask some more questions and or explain something in further detail that you might want to see. So I leave it up to Judy and John at this point.
I'll jump in first if it's okay. Do me a favor and go to the control panel and to mouse and see what settings they still have in the old control panel compared to all the settings you would have in the new settings.
Okay, that's good. So I'm going to go here to large icons and let's see, mouse.
Almost there.
Yeah.
To the right.
Straight across.
Right there. All right, so I click there. And now this is the old mouse properties button that we have. So what we'll do, we'll minimize that, and then we'll bring up settings. And I'll make that here. And I'll go here to devices, because that's where mouse settings are now. It's under devices. And we'll click on the mouse. So let's see if we can do this. All right. So in this case, it shows buttons, and you have button configuration where you can switch from the primary and secondary buttons. And right here, it's right there. Select your primary button, which is left or right. So we have that covered. Then double click speed is I think you're going to have to go to the control panel to do that, because it's going to be under additional mouse options, which will bring this up. So that's not quite there yet. And then the click lock, turn on click lock, enables you to highlight and drag without holding down the mouse. That's probably going to be in this area as well. So all you have here is you can roll the mouse wheel to scroll multiple times, lines at a time, or one screen at a time. And that is, let me go right here. And then that's about it, John. So to answer your question, that not everything that is in the control panel is here yet. You can get to it by clicking on additional mouse options, which will bring up this dialog box. And then if you adjust mouse and cursor size, that's going to be a different screen. And that's here where it says pointers. So you can do all this stuff still under the new one. And that's about it.
I let Pete know privately that I'm not ready to let the control panel go. So on my start menu, I have this PC, settings, and control panel, the tiles right in a row. And I still find it easier to whip right over to control panel and quickly find something because, like Bill said, not everything has moved over yet.
Yes, but but my recommendation to do is that I have kind of weaned myself from the control panel. I was never really a big fan of it to begin with, but I try to do things in settings before I go to the control panel. If I can't find it here, then I will then revert to the control panel because I want to get myself orientated to using this because in my mind, I know that one day it's going to go away. So I just need to, you know, come up with that.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point is that Windows 10 is still not done yet, and there's a number of
right, and they're moving
control
stuff
panel settings.
gradually over there. I mean, it's some of the things I think in the control panel are kind of archaic and not really applicable to the new operating system. So that's one of the reasons why I think they're kind of slow to making changes, or moving everything over because everything is not going to be moved. That's a good question, John.
I have a couple of Cortana questions.
All right.
If home automation is removed in Cortana, how does Microsoft suggest that we do that functionality? I can answer that. Use Alexa or
Google.
my
That would be
friend over
mine.
here to my left. And another one is using Cortana. What are the privacy concerns with this feature turned on? Is Cortana tracking or listening to conversations, as has previously been told about, hey, this person to my left here features recording conversations?
Well, you can safely say, if I say, hey, Cortana, you notice that she does nothing because she's not listening. And I think, and this is the older version. All right, so here, I have that let Cortana respond to hey Cortana, but I have to press the button for her to do that. In order to talk to her, I have to actually engage this, that she just doesn't automatically is listening to you. So it's working differently, but that probably will not change. I mean, that's not something they're going to be changing in the new version because Cortana will still respond to this. But see, if I say keep my device from sleeping when it's plugged in, so I can always say, so maybe I have to check this button. Let's do that. Hey, Cortana. There you go. So to answer your question, okay, I know. To answer your question, in these settings, you have two things you have to do. First, it has to be turned on, and then you have to have this checkbox, keep my device from sleeping when it's plugged in, so I can always say, hey, Cortana, unless I turn it off myself. So if this is unchecked, your device is set to, so if this is unchecked, I think I have to turn this off here. Okay, now turn it back on. If that's, well, if this is turned off, then it will not work. Hey, Cortana. So that's the key right there. So it's not listening to you like the others are doing so.
Right, because if he says, hey, the G word, mine over here is going to respond to what
And
He's-
mine here. So
he says to his.
if you say, hey, G, loud, and just use the word, they all go off.
I know it. We've had that happen before when there's been several of us online at the same time on just having a fun meeting. Anyway, this is your last chance to put your first and last name, and I really appreciate it to those people who actually just put their first and last name in the chat box. We're going to keep it open for a few minutes just in case, the light bulb goes on and you think of a question you would like to have answered. And with that, I thank Bill and John wonderfully. Fantastic job, you guys. But John, I have a question for you. Lots of people are having problems with the Zoom bar overriding the bottom of Bill's screen when he was sharing it, and they were unable to see his taskbar. What is your solution for that?
As you still...
Oh, you ask, the normal solution is that you need to go into full screen so that your toolbar is moved away, and then you can see the full screen. Sometimes there's a problem if you have your mouse down in the corner, the bottom, it makes it pop up. So I would try watching in full screen.
And my solution privately was I unlock mine and I drag mine over to the right-hand side because I'm never watching totally in full screen because I'm taking notes and I'm using Word and bopping back into the presentation again. So like I said, I unlock it and I drag it over to the right and get it out of the way so I can use it if I need be. Anyway, thank you so much. You can end the meeting on your own, and we're not going to click on leave the meeting until we wait a few minutes. And that has their video on. And Bill, will you stop sharing?
I will.
Thank you.
Bill, make sure you save the chat because that option is not available to me. So make sure you share it or save it.
If you click on the 3 buttons, John, you can save it yourself.
Nope, can't do it. Nothing happens when I click on my 3 buttons. Isn't that something?
Huh.
And the same thing today, something's wrong that I can't click on anybody in the participants for more. All I can do is mute and unmute.
Hey, we learn something new about Zoom every single day.
I like your background.
And then they change it.
I went through all my photos. I think this is somebody's photo from my Southwest Technology Conference down in San Diego.
Looks great.
It was in that folder, and I thought, well, maybe somebody will see me sometime and say, hey, that's mine.
Yeah.
And your dress matches the red flowers in the background. My goodness.
Oh, hey, kiddo, it's all about staging. It is. Look, Huey is staged. He has his green screen behind him. With my new computer, I don't need a green screen anymore. And Bob, he's got a nice staging behind him.
It's called advertising.
Well, you didn't have to say that, but yes, I'm advertising somebody's photo. What can I tell you? I have a whole lot of different ones because I have a lot of cool, photo contrast in my conference in San Diego.
Yeah, that was some Southwest conference, right?
Yep, you got it.
At that nice hotel.
Yes, the town and country, to die for, with all the roses and everything.
Let me jump in just a second because Carol wants to know an answer. Carol, the chat box has an option that you can move it off of the side. and you can pin it to it. So there's two choices, either floating or pinned. And I float mine to a second screen, and other people pin it to theirs so it's on the outside of the Zoom shared window.
Yeah, mine's on the right. It's always on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else is on the left.
The chat box?
Yeah, my chat box, I pull it over there all the time.
Yeah, mine's on the right, but right now I have it moved to the other side.
But it's movable to wherever it's least obtrusive.
Yeah, but I haven't figured out how you change the menu at the bottom. I know, Judy, you can, but you may be able to because you're a host or co-host.
She's talking about her window taskbar.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Zoom.
No.
The Zoom bar.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find that other than making sure my mouse is away from it so it is not making it pop up.
Yeah,
Like
right now I can see both taskbars.
Yeah. And
are you guys answering questions?
Sure, ask away.
we won't give you the right answer.
I was trying to find out if this was recorded and how do we access the recording.
I already talked about that, but I'll tell you again.
Okay.
I'll give you a leeway. I had people coming in registering as late as 10:15. Okay. Oh well. I'm going to upload this to the APCUG's YouTube channel, and if you signed in with your first and last name in the chat box, you'll get it. That's kind of to give a dig to the people who put their email addresses in there or the name of their group. I always tell seniors, working with kindergartners is a lot easier. They actually pay attention to directions and instructions and then follow through correctly.
Okay.
You guys, it's a different matter.
I'm not familiar with how to sign into the YouTube channel for.
Oh, good. We'll give you that answer too.
Hey, Marshall, that was on my presentation too.
Well,
is your first and last name in the chat box?
In the chat box. No, I mean how to sign in. You said you're putting.
No, you just go to APCUG's. Hey, we have somebody coming in. You just go to APCUG's YouTube channel and click on the video when it gets up there.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Great.
Any email you have ever received from your advisor under his signature line, it usually has the Facebook page, the Twitter handle, and the YouTube channel.
Okay, great. Thank you all for your great presentation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for attending.
Hi, Bob.
Hello. Which Bob?
Just hang on a second. One
There's
question.
two
Somebody,
Bobs, really.
yeah, hang on. Somebody wanted to know whether or not this is a weekly webinar. Nope. The email that we sent out said this is a monthly. Second of the Wednesday of the month for 3 more months.
Ellie, the email address I am using is the one that everybody registered with via my Google form. It's the same way when you guys attend a virtual technology conference. What email address you keyed in when you registered at Eventbrite is the one that I use to get back to the attendees.
I got called away for some search stuff, so I didn't get able to sign in early enough. Is it possible to see a re-showing of this, of everything that happened?
Yeah, Bill.
There's it's recorded.
Type your first and last name in the chat box, and then you'll get a copy of it.
Okay.
And if you want the notes also, those will be available. Probably not today. I have to go in and do some editing, but they'll be out tomorrow.
Oh, shoot. I only wanted to send one email.
This is Ted. May I ask a question?
Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Sometimes I use that top search bar to look for something, or sometimes I ask Cortana, instead of retyping every time you want to go back to a previous search, is there a place where they're all recorded so I can just quickly go and pick up a site?
If it's in your browser, if you hit the control button and the H button, you get history.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Sally, I like your butterfly. I have a new computer and I downloaded the butterfly theme again for my wallpaper, and I'm really enjoying it.
Did APCUG spring for a bigger license?
Just for
It's all
today.
of $15. It should have been 50 or 60, but they prorate it.
Nice.
So clever people that we are, we're going to upgrade it in June, just before the June workshop too. So
Yeah.
we don't have to pay the
We're
full
gonna-
amount.
We're going to cancel this, but when the registration went over 100, we got a little concerned, but actually what was it, 148 registered, and that's what we almost
No,
had?
actually, we have over 260 people registered.
Oh, wow.
And
We
I've
hit
never been, it's like the
157.
VTC. I've never been able to figure out why people register and then don't come.
Sometimes
about-
things happen that you don't expect and you can't.
Overnight?
I have a glazier working in my garage today, fixing a back window on the van. So I've been in and out, but
No, Bob, but these people only have been registering for the last 3 days. It's not like it was weeks in advance, okay? Are we having senior moments here that I don't know about?
Someone said they saw 155, so that was surprising. I wasn't expecting that many people.
Yeah, I think
Well,
we were up to 157 total at one time, and then it just, somebody would leave, somebody'd come in, somebody leave, somebody come in.
good thing you didn't get stage fright, Bill.
Oh, I did actually. I was a little bit nervous.
And if you notice Huey's virtual backgrounds just keep changing.
Yeah, I'm adding pictures. I downloaded and searched my hard drive for some different pictures, and I went and I got them and put them in one place, and now I'm adding them to the Zoom set of backgrounds.
Judy, do you
Mother's
want
Day.
to address Ely's concern? She says, "Thank you. We're not sure if Eventbrite is secure and don't want to register with them. A suggestion was to use a different."
Well, I would say Eventbrite is much more secure than Google is. APCUG has been using Eventbrite for years, and there has never been any problem.
Well, most of the Zoom things I've been on lately, even yours, if you look at it, has an encryption code in it. So the Zoom itself is encrypted. I don't know about Eventbrite registering.
I have a
Well,
question.
all I can say is, But for Mother's Day, I had a picture of my son, who's no longer with us, on a dirt bike silhouetted on a mountain with the sun setting behind him. And that was my wallpaper for my virtual screen for Sunday. That was a lot of
Ellie, I don't think you have to subscribe to YouTube to view the video.
No, you don't.
You don't have to subscribe to YouTube. You don't have to subscribe to Eventbrite to attend an event, and you do not need to have a Zoom account. They all pop up and say, Eventbrite says, when you get your acknowledgement email, it says, click here to put your account together. Why? You're never going to go back up there again. I'm the only one that captures the email addresses. And for all three things, you do not need an account. But they'd like you to have one so then they can send you stuff.
Zoom, I think, is the one exception where you ought to go and get Zoom, because it's not only for presentations like this, it's excellent to have meetings with your family, your friends, all kinds of things. And it doesn't cost anything.
Yep.
It's limited to a half hour, but I believe there's a
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
And right now they're waiving that in most instances. But
If it's
40
a
minutes,
if it's one-on-one, there's no time limit.
Yep. You can talk 24 hours. They don't care.
I
Pamela,
have a question.
you've
if
got,
I might.
hold on, give me a second here. Pamela, on the email that came out about the workshop, it tells you what will be covered each month. So go back and look for that first email, and it'll let you know exactly what's happening each month. Okay.
Okay, I have a question if I might. On settings, on the left-hand side, there was an option that said lock screen. Hopefully that'll do something that Windows has been lacking forever and ever about rearranging your icons on your desktop. Is that what that's for?
No, it's not. That's to make sure that the toolbar doesn't wind up accidentally being changed from the bottom or top or side, whatever your preference is.
That's the taskbar.
Well, I'm very non-minimalistic, like opposite of Bill, and frequently I open up my computer and the icons are scattered all over. Long time I wish that Windows would come up with a way of locking them in place.
Now, if you had attended one of my presentations, the follow-up email has always included a program that does exactly that. Keep your icons on your desktop the way you want them when Windows decides to change them.
Okay, I think that JC asked that question. Marilyn, Marlis, we'll get you in a minute. You need to right click on your desktop and see how, and look at what you have checked for your icons. They can be like, correct me if I'm not right, Huey. They can be in alphabetical order, or they can be grouped different ways. Make sure you have them set up the way you want it. I have never, ever in 30 years had any icons do anything other than what I wanted them to on my desktop. If we had icons on our desktops back in the day.
Yeah,
Marlis, your question.
I use a $10 program called Fences, and it puts and it does little groupings of your icons, and it locks them in. It can roll them up so you have them out of the way and just the heading of the topic, and you can have them in little enclosed in fences is what the idea of it is.
That program is called
Stardock.
You people must have
very
few desktop icons. I have over 100. So I sent something out to everybody. I no longer show desktop icons. I just created by using the toolbars in the right click on the taskbar, select toolbars, and you can create a desktop list. I sent that out, and the list can be sorted by name, and you can change the names, and then you can search through the list. So I have no desktop icons, just like Bill. But I use that desktop drop-down list.
And I put mine in folders. I have a security folder that has anything to do with that. I give a ton and a half of Speaker Bureau presentations, and I put everything that I'm doing for that meeting in a folder on my desktop for easy access. I have a presentations, and I just slide those little darlings in there. So people don't laugh at me now because my desktop is no longer covered with icons. They are neatly arranged in folders. Huey, I'm going to let Marlis ask.
No, I'm waving goodbye. I got another session.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good swim.
Bye, Huey.
Marlis, your question.
Yes, I registered, and from the email I understood Mountain Standard Time is supposed to start at 10 o'clock. And I joined the meeting at 10 o'clock and it was already in progress. It sounded like I missed a half of it.
What time zone are you in?
Mountain Standard. I'm in Arizona.
Arizona is the same time as California. I got several emails from people in Arizona saying, what time should I be there? And I looked it up, and you guys are the same time zone as California until we go to not daylight savings time. Then we're an hour off. So for all intents and purposes,
I need to go by Pacific Standard Time.
Yep.
Right now,
it's
yes.
Pacific Daylight Time. We match daylight time, but we don't when it's standard.
I realized that, but I didn't. We're still in Mountain Standard because we don't change.
Yep.
Arizona doesn't change.
Yeah, about 6 people got in touch and said,
By the way, just a little note on Zoom. I got Zoom bombed when I tried to join a meeting about a month ago, and I think Huey was there, and they were frantically switching switches trying to get rid of these people. But so they decided at that time it wasn't very secure, so I took it off my computer. Now I have it back on again. Hopefully this won't happen again.
It's
Totally different from a month ago to now. Totally different.
Marlis, if they had the security options checked, that wouldn't have happened. But back then, we didn't think about it because this is actually a business video conferencing program. We've been using it since 2014 with no problem. But when everybody got involved in it at their home and the kids had too much time on their hands and they discovered Zoom bombing. But again, the security options have always been there in Zoom. We just didn't bother to check them.
Okay, well, it was way too much excitement for an old lady anyway.
Well, that was the one and only time.
Can I say
Although
something?
I do have a horror story to relate.
But it said my computer wouldn't allow it. I needed a green screen.
And you need a better computer. And you need a better computer.
You need a faster
Lenovo laptop, about 4 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, it's way too old. The graphics card isn't good enough to do
I'm
a
sorry,
back screen.
Amelia. I would be nicer. I would have a nicer answer for you than they did.
Okay, what is it?
Well, I wouldn't tell you your computer stunk, which is essentially what they did.
No.
Your computer just doesn't have the correct insides in order for you to use a green screen.
And I have a Lenovo too, and it won't.
So I can't change my background?
Not unless you want to buy a new computer.
Okay, it's a good answer.
Hey, no, I mean, I'm with you. I've got a almost dead HP in the dining room, and this is my new one here. I don't even need a green screen. It's got good guts in it, and so I've got a screen like Huey had, only mine's blue. I don't need to use that anymore. But this is a screamer of a computer.
One little trick you can try is there's a checkbox, lie and say I have a green screen, and see what happens. But I've got 2 laptops, a newer Lenovo. I don't even get the option for screen. My old one, I can check the box that says I have a green screen, but it looks terrible. So it doesn't matter how, what kind of a computer, it's the graphics and stuff inside. Hey, RT, I wanted to answer RT's question, and Bob's trying to do it too, is that the pro accounts pay for the free accounts. And so that's how we can have free, because Zoom makes it on all their business ones that are the accounts that let you have more than 40 minutes. And webinars like we do for VTCs. That's where they make their money.
I have a comment and a couple of questions, please.
Can I finish what John said first?
Sure.
And Ted's going to say, sure you can, Judy. And that's why Avast has the free version, because they have a gazillion businesses that pay for the version, and that enables them to let regular people like us have the free version of Avast. That's your commercial, Bob. Go ahead, Ted.
Well, I wanted to say we've had 2 family get-togethers with Zoom, and I think it's great. First question is Windows Defender all that I need to protect me on my computer, or are there other security programs that I should add without conflicting with Windows Defender?
Who are you going to ask, I guess?
Bob will answer that question for you, Ted.
If you ask me, no, you should install the free version of Avast. It's superior to Windows Defender. But for many people, I don't know what you do on the internet, which is your biggest exposure. For some people, Defender works just fine.
Thank you. The second question is, how do you know when to use your left click or right click, and how many clicks on each when you do use them?
Oh, I can. Oh, you got the answer? Good, because I got the answer
because I just sent my beginning Windows 10 handout to Carol in Greeley. Your left click commands, it's a command. It says, click open Word, click open document. It's your command. It's Ted saying, all right, you guys, I just clicked on you, open up.
I got a better
And
one.
your right click brings up they call it a context menu with a lot of different options. Your right click has different options with every single program, whether it be Word, PowerPoint, Excel, the internet, and that gives you choices on doing things.
Here's a better one, Judy. From my first grade years, the word select has an L in the middle. L for left. You like that?
I love it.
Okay. Select. That's, because I go back to first grade trying to teach about left hand, right hand. I have them hold up your left hand and your finger and thumb make an L. That's your left hand. So left button for anything you want to select.
Or command, you want to tell your kids back in the day, hey, it's time to leave now. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We'll see you on the 10th of June.
Oh, that wasn't, she wasn't telling you to leave. She was just
I
explaining.
know.
Oh.
I got a question. I'm not sure if it was been discussed or it's related. Has to do with mail. I think that's the Windows 10 thing. And
Yes.
when I use mail, I just decided, okay, fine, it's there. I use it. But it only, when I go to a Yahoo account or Hotmail account or whatever, it only shows up so many mail items up to a certain date, you might say. And after that, it cuts it off. Now, I can go onto my iPhone and I can see all the mail that's supposed to be in that account. How do I have my mail account show my full history in that file?
I don't. I use that same application.
Because it's funny. I mean, there are some I know I've got. I mean, you kind of use a history. You go back. I know on that date I used that, looked up that file or whatever.
How far do you go? How far do you want to go back?
Well, some stuff I go back 3-4 years, but some of these have cut off like after 6 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
mean,
really don't have a good answer for that.
But Bill, he'll figure it out and we'll send you an email.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think probably if you go search for it, you probably come up with a deeper response, but I don't know the answer.
It seems like there's got to be a simple default somewhere, a setting, but that it didn't offer me the option. Of course, I didn't. I just plugged in, turned it on, and my HP is working wonderful, except it doesn't like my finger recognition. It should.
I have something. You see where Tony left the room?
Mm-hmm.
The polite thing to do when you leave the room is to stop your video so we don't wonder if you, there you are. Okay. And that was going to be my thing. Other than that, he's in a very dark room and we can't see him. But if you do get up to leave the room, remember to be fully dressed when you do. And so we don't want to see you in your underwear. And stop your video so we don't go, and I wonder where that person went. Tony, you need better lighting, kiddo. You need to get rid of the light behind you and get a light shining on your handsome face.
Okay, I'll try and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been washed out by that window, or that's a lamp, I think, behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the light's behind instead of in front.
Yeah, I don't got much light here. I'll have to get one of those round ones.
Or you could, if you pulled the curtains, we wouldn't get the glare.
I'm lucky I have the light in the kitchen above me and in front of me. So I'm just sitting in the right spot.
I just have natural light.
Yeah, everybody
That's
in
because Judy has a natural beauty, so it doesn't really matter.
all your faces are lit up really good.
Yeah, well, yours isn't.
Yeah, well, how do you do that?
Get a light
A light
in front of you.
in front of you.
Oh. to
You
turn
don't
on
want
my
a
big
light
screen.
from above and you don't want it from behind you. Yours, we've got a big, do you see the glare over your right shoulder? That's coming from your window.
Yeah. Well, it's a lamp he has there.
Well,
But
then turn it off.
Huey's not here, but he bought something off of Amazon, I believe, that allows him to, that shines a light on his face. It's designed for camera lighting.
Would that be like a makeup light?
I
I'm not
saw
sure what
a
it is.
video the other day and the gal had a round light that was probably that big around and there was nothing in the center. And it was on a little tripod and you could put it wherever you wanted it to be. I have no clue who presenter SCE is.
Oh, sorry.
You really need to sign in with your first and last name so we know who you are.
Sorry,
have an
I
answer to
signed
that
in with the club account. It's Jeff Wilkinson from Sun City Summerlin Computer Club. I had a question. When I'm using Zoom and I share my screen, is there a way to tab between shared open PDF files, for instance?
Yeah, you select which screen you have them open on your taskbar. When you go to share, it gives you the options of which ones you want to share.
Yeah, but when you choose one and you're done with that, do you have to stop sharing and then reshare with the next one, or can you just?
I don't think so. I think you just need to change what you're sharing.
If you, Jeff, do a Zoom meeting with yourself. I do these all the time, you know, getting my screenshots for my handouts, and share something, and you'll see a drop down, and it'll say something like share something new or new share. Click on that and see if it takes you back down to your.
But right now, I'm going to hit share.
You just close out your PDF and click on the new one, and you've got them both open on your. So when you share with Zoom in the first place, like with my PowerPoint presentation, it was open. When I clicked on share, I clicked on my PowerPoint presentation, and boom, it was there.
Right, I did that, and that worked fine with the open PDF. But I had like 4 PDFs open in our meeting, and I wanted to switch between them.
There's a trick. There's a trick now that I'd like to share with you, which is you can have multiple desktops on Windows 10. If when you go to share as a presenter, you select desktop, then you can go between the multiple desktops and you don't have to go back to share new application, because you can put each one on a separate desktop.
Okay, thank you. I'll play with it. And
we had one example in one of the workshops that we did where the presenter had 7 desktops that he created and put different Excel spreadsheets or applications into each desktop. Then he could just tab between desktops. So you don't have to go back down. It's very cumbersome to share new application or share a new desktop for the presenter in Zoom.
But if you have all of those PDFs open, they're going to be stacked up right on a row on your main desktop. Bob G, I think, is holding up something that we should look at. It looks like a rear view mirror, strange thing.
Yeah, it happens to be a light that plugs into the USB port. That's on a long thing, and there's your USB at the end. You plug it in, and it's bendable. It can do anything you want with it, and there's your light.
Won't Alt-Tab get Jeff what he wants? He could flip between different PDFs.
Yep.
Sounds like that works to me.
I tried that in the meeting, and I wasn't able to get it work, but I'll play with it some more. Thank you.
Bob, where did you get your mirror? I mean, your light?
It's called Amazon. And it wasn't very expensive either.
So you're going to, search for Amazon.
It's a USB
light.
Yep.
That bends. And they'll pick up what they need. JJ, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, please. Press your space bar.
My space bar is not working right now. Yeah, those ring lights are becoming very popular here. I'm a photographer. I have a couple of ring lights I use for my photography. You can go on Amazon like the one Bob showed, but they're ones are a little bit bigger than that. They're around about 7 or 8 inches, and they run about $20. But they are becoming very popular and are really great for doing Zoom presentations. Okay, and right now I don't have one on me. I'm just using the window light to my right-hand side, so I pretty much lit. But I do have another light, somewhat like the one Bob have in front of me if it's not as bright outside as it is right now.
Amelia's light is way cool. Her computer might be.
You're muted, Amelia.
My light is coming from my window from outside. I have windows on.
And it's coming that way on you. That's
in
perfect.
front of me. The light is in front of me.
Except when the sun goes that way and it's not coming in your window anymore.
Only attend meetings when the sun is in the right spot.
Yes. With my other computer, I looked pretty good from 4 to 6 in the afternoon. The sun goes this way, and it happened to be. And other than that, I always look fuzzy, which may or may not have been okay. Anybody else have any other questions? Pamela says you can use a plain wall and select the color of the wall as your green screen. At the San Diego group where Bill gave a presentation on Windows Assist and John gave one on TeamViewer. They were live and they used each other's machines. Their president he got a green sheet and he's got it on some kind of rack behind him. I'm assuming it's, one of the ones like you put your clothes on and you can roll them around. And that worked fine for him.
They were talking about that last night on our WPCUG meeting. And those green screens were about $80, which I didn't want to go for.
Well, Huey and I have the original ones when they first came out, the round ones from when Zoom arrived, and they were $29.99 at CES, and we each got one, and David Williams got one also. And they are now with shipping $105.
Whoa.
And I turned my small one in and I ordered one of the big ones. They're $60. I got all of $74 back. I did not get my $18.91 shipping back, nor did I get my California tax back. And I got a kick out of it. They deducted $5.54 for my UPS shipping to send it back. And it was all through WebAround. And I thought, well, why didn't they send it to me for $5.54 UPS instead of priority US mail for almost $20? And every time I turned, I knocked everything off the table to my left, so I had to send it back. And see, Amelia, I fixed it by buying a new computer.
Those 5x7 collapsible green screens right now are running about $54 on Amazon.
Are they rectangle or what?
They're sort of, not rectangular, they're sort of oval.
The only ones I saw were the WebArounds that were 60. Any size is 60, whether it's the smaller one, the 56 like I had, or the 60-inch like Huey got. Do they have ones other than the WebArounds on Amazon?
I've only seen, well, depending, like I said, most of the 5x7s, I have a couple of those in different colors, but I do have one green screen and blue screen. And I got one that I popped up and it's like 8x10, and I'm still having problems trying to get it unfolded.
Cool. Cool. Are you guys ready to go, or are you going to hang out?
I can hang out as long as they like. I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah, you should be fixing your notes so I can send it out tonight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I don't have to send.
Well, I got to take an hour break. This has been stressful.
But remember, I work on Hawaii time.
Oh. Yeah.
When something is due at midnight, I'm in Southern California, and Don Singleton used to say, Judy always works on Hawaii time when she sends things through.
And you know what I've done? You know what I've done to you is that the recording is still going, so you're going to have to trim this.
Well, you're going to need to upload and I have to play with the recording too. So you need to upload that to the.
Yeah, I'll upload it as soon as at the end of this to the share drive. Yeah, I can do that.
And luckily my video maker for the 1,000-year-old Microsoft one works, and I was so excited about being able to download photo gallery, and I don't want anybody listening to me laughing about that. I use very little editing, and JJ is going, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. And it didn't work, and I was so disappointed. You know, stuff that came through with Windows Live Essentials back in the day wasn't that bad.
I'm not sure why they got rid of that.
Oh, good. Bill's wine tasting group has 2 months of meetings. I'm going to have to tell that to my oldest son-in-law. I know the teachers at the West Ranch High School have happy hour every Friday, and my daughter works for UCLA Health, and she and her staff have happy hour every Friday too, because as long as her sister's doing it with the teachers.
Now, someone wrote earlier they had a virtual cocktail party.
Well, that's what the wine tasting would be.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, I really appreciate that.
We've been doing this for about 19 or 20 years now. We rotate at people's homes, and the host gets to pick the wine from whether it's origin or type or year or whatever, and has to provide the munchies in. And because of the stay-at-home thing, we decided to do it virtual, and in which case you could just pick wine that you happen to have in your house. But it accomplished its purpose, and it worked out good because one of our members ended up scheduling a marriage in the middle of all this, and so we could talk to them the day after the marriage because it was a virtue. They got married in the church, and there was no reception, and you couldn't be in the church and all kind of stuff like that. But it ended up being a nice experience, and for those of us that are in the over 65 age bracket, it's safer.
Yes.
My oldest daughter is the designated driver. She doesn't drink, and at the West Ranch happy hours, I say, and you're with your Dr. Pepper, and Todd is with one of his really nifty wines, and she says, yeah, about that. But they go on winery tours. They'll take a Sunday off and go, and as many people. And she always borrows her sister's Navigator because that's the biggest family car. She can get more people in that, and off they go to visit all their favorite wineries as far up as, below San Luis Obispo, and then they come back down again. And they're all well known at all these places, not because they're rowdy, but because they're.
That's interesting.
Now, so I'm going to mention the virtual to him. He'll get a kick out of that.
So when you're all talking about the green screens, I'm going to go shopping. Are there any that are already pre-made that's on PCP pipe?
Bill?
I don't know PCP pipe, but like I said, the one Judy had behind her before, I think, is one of those collapsible ones.
Yeah, but it's like
on
a
the back
fan,
of your chair.
but I don't have anything to attach it to like that.
Well, I think Judy had hers propped up behind her chair or whatever.
No, it goes over the back of your chair. But my problem was you could see the top and you could see my wall is because I'm sitting in an admin chair. I don't like a chair with arms, and they're made for executive chairs that have higher backs.
Yeah, I don't have.
Huey has a chair with a high back. You're going to want to get something like JJ talked about before, that they're portable, and you just, go like this. They don't attach to anything. Go to Amazon and do green screens, and you'll see.
Okay.
And I think they all come together with the stands and everything, plus the screen.
Yeah, you can look up the collapsible ones, and some of them come with stands, but like I said, the cheapest one I've seen about a week or so ago was $54 just for the screen. But you might pay a little extra for getting the stand, and the stand sit behind your chair or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I need to do.
Or you could get a clothing rack and a green sheet like, APCUG president has, and it works fine too.
But I'd have to go out and look for that. I don't want to get out to do that.
Oh, that's right. Well, no, you could buy them online from Walmart or anybody. The problem would be getting the green sheet.
Yeah.
Walmart even has them, and so does Target's.
Okay, I'll look.
I know somebody who picked up a projection screen at a garage sale for a few bucks and sprayed some green paint on it and able to roll it up and put it away when he's not using it, and works great for him.
You know, I forgot, I do have a projection screen, and I have a pale green bed sheet.
You're going to have to iron that sheet and use clothespins or clippies, you know, and that.
What?
You know, the thing about using a green screen, once you set up green screen and you go down in your Zoom and it says, I have a green screen, then it comes up with a little eyedropper to let you select the color of the green screen, because some of them are not all the same color. And it sort of tunes, or what we call color cast, the green screen to your backdrop, so it looks like, you know, it should be for you.
Yeah, I saw that. No, I do have a projection screen. I never thought about using that.
Very good.
I was going to say my background cost me $4,000, so I think that's a little bit too much.
Oh.
Did you buy the whole desert?
No, that's a picture last year I was at in the Holy Land. That's the Dead Sea.
Okay, Bill, the next time we have one of our Zoom things, you're going to need to have your old screen up there with, let's just try it with it being white and see what happens. That hurt. You're muted.
I think it might work. I had forgotten about that.
Let's try that, like tomorrow. Okay, the silence is such that I think it's time for us to go. John's got the light shining right on him wonderfully, and we can see him perfectly, which is way cool.
I just paid my tab for my window repair.
Oh, how'd it get broken?
It's called a lawnmower and a rock. I was told that I broke glass in the garage. So I figured it was the window in the garage, never realizing we're talking about the back window of the van parked inside the garage.
Operator error, huh?
Yeah, sorta.
Well, while you were gone, we have solved Bill's wanting to get a green screen, and JJ mentioned something and the light bulb went on for Bill, and it's way cool, and we're going to check him out and see if it works for him.
A sheet pinned up on the wall works.
Well, he doesn't have a wall behind him. But yeah, this is cool. Let me go. Somebody said they have to go to the next meeting. That's the way my life has been. I've been doing nothing but Zoom since the first week of March to get as many groups as I possibly can up and running with Zoom so they can keep meeting.
I'll be going to New York, Rochester later. Not for a presentation, just to join a meeting.
Quick question. Some people in my church use the go-to meeting. Is that the latest craze from somebody else?
No, it's been there for a long time.
Well, go-to meeting is old.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it's more power hungry than Zoom.
And I had to attend one. Well, I needed to attend one to watch a debate in my California district out here. Your speakers, and it had this really cool music that it played, and I couldn't get it to stop. I clicked on every single thing, and I could find absolutely nothing that would turn it off. So I had to get back out and come back in again. And when it said check your audio, I just stuck my tongue out it and clicked into the meeting. But I thought that was interesting. With that, I felt it wasn't that user friendly if it wasn't obvious that something didn't pop up and say, make the speakers go away.
I'm trying to remember. I've used that before, and I used it on a regular basis, but I can't remember who with.
Yeah, I don't know what's in my CNET or ZDNet emails, but there's like 7 or 10 new ones out there, and I didn't read the article to see what's the latest and greatest and why it's better than Zoom. Of course, it can be like one gets oversubscribed, and so the other ones have more width.
Well, they're going to say, anytime something new is coming out, they're going to say it's better than Zoom. But, it is so darn easy to use. And in reality, when you're training people to use it, other than folks who want to dig into it, they only need to learn 4 things, 5 things tops. And I tell them, they can delve into it when they're on a meeting because we can't see what they're doing.
Did everyone get a notification for a new version of Zoom, Zoom 5 point something?
Yes.
5.02.
Okay,
Yes.
I just got that the other day when I logged on. My camera club decided they're doing their presentation tomorrow night. I have a meeting with them. They're finally going to Zoom because they haven't had a meeting. And I got a social group I meet with every 2 weeks, and we're doing Zoom every 2 weeks now just to get together.
I have an automatic habit. Always do the right click and check for update on Zoom.
There was
because they
Zoom
do
had an
quite
update
often.
last night. Yesterday there was one.
Yes.
Yes, I'm on my third 5 update. Everybody needs to be using 5.0 blah, blah, blah by May 30. If somebody has not upgraded to 5.0, whatever it is then, they will not be allowed in the meeting. And it's this, I have 5.0, I know Bill does, JJ, Bob does. We're not really using the security aspect of it, which is the 256 AES-GCM encryption end-to-end, because in order for that to kick in, everybody needs to have 5 point something. So after May 30, everybody has to have it or you're not welcome to the meeting. That's one of the if you ever have time, there's Ask Eric Wednesday webinars, and Eric is the CEO of Zoom. You learn everything before it gets out in the public, and it is really a lot of fun. And they're an hour, and they have questions and answers, and he's got a lot of their head staff there answering them, and lots of answers and good answers and everything. And they have a 90-day plan, and they're just moving right along. But this part is the biggie. And the other biggie was to make some of the security options mandatory, because the people who are using Zoom weren't using the security options that were already there. So now we kind of have to with the password encrypted URL in the waiting room.
I have not seen any other program that has been so active in updating. Anything that anyone had an objection to, they were on it so quick that if yesterday it didn't work, today it does. So I give him lots of kudos for the way
my handouts are always changing.
Yep.
And they're not doing any feature updates, but obviously I'm not there this morning. And but last week somebody mentioned, well, when are you going to start doing feature updates? Because they said they stopped everything to get all the security issues. And at the very first meeting they had, their CEO took ownership of everything. And we're not used to that in the United States anymore, to have somebody in charge who takes ownership. He didn't try to push it off on anybody else. He didn't wring his hands. We could have done better. But again, they were a business video conferencing program, not a personal person video conferencing program, which is kind of the majority of their people right now.
Judy Bernard is asking, when is that? It's
somebody
Wednesdays,
asked,
right?
last week said, when are you going to start doing feature updates? And the gal said, hey, somebody just in the chat box put in a feature update. And she said, if you've got stuff that you want us to look at, let us know. Put it in the chat box. We'll just make a list. And somebody asked if they're ever going to have music in the waiting room. And Oded kind of got a little smirk on his face. And
I want to know if there's a way to interact with someone in the chat room.
What?
I want to know if you can interact with someone in the chat room.
Then you need to just
That's
shoot them
correct.
something.
Yep.
And I want to see captioning for people who are hard of hearing, and you actually have to have somebody saying saying the words behind the presenter, and then they pop up, or a third-party app that I haven't figured out how to do. So that was my suggestion.
Judy, they showed that yesterday.
What?
They have that working in beta.
Yes. Oh,
And
I sent that in early on.
And it actually will transcribe at the speech as you go, and it's going to record it. You don't have to, nobody has to type. He's not sure if it's going to be a paid feature.
Oh, it's just going to be an option.
Bernard wants to know about Eric's little talks. They're Wednesdays at what time?
Well, 10 o'clock California time.
Yeah, Bernard DeFazio is asking that.
Okay, I will send you the link.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's called Ask Eric, and you have to be you have to register for it.
And you can register 10 minutes before they start, because unlike ours that happen to have a person acknowledge the registrations, they have it done automatically, but they immediately send you the link.
And is it www.askeric or what?
No, I'll send it out because it's
Yesterday, I attended something that was on a Tuesday. It was back to the basics, and it was very informative.
And I get those emails all the time and have just shined them on, and I really feel bad about that because he learned something else. He learned how to customize the waiting room yesterday, or you wouldn't have had a customized waiting room. Hey, it was like in preschool that they'd say, "You learned that last night in class, didn't you? Because we're doing something new today." And I'd say, "Yes." The VTC COVID-19 team, rather, the video as on the top of stuff like that, keeping everything up to date. And the team is Bill and John and me.
Judy, I'm going to go bow out for lunch. Thanks much.
You're
Bill,
welcome.
thanks.
Thank you for attending.
Thanks, Bob.
Bill, thanks. Yep. Take care.
All right.
As they say, have a good rest of your day.
Okay.
Well, I am going to save the chat for the last time. And Bill's going to save it. And it's 11:38 here. And I am going to say we're out of here. Thank you for attending. We appreciate it. We will see you in June. I will follow up with Bill, Bernard, and Bob G with Ask Eric link. And Bill, you save the chat on your end and then end the darling meeting, okay? And thank you. Oh, there's Sally Ann's beautiful butterfly.